Dear Mr. Leon C., I've been listening to you for several months now. I haven't commented, but I've been listening quite well. I agree with most, if not almost everything that you say. But I got a question when you discuss religion. And I hear you ever so often say pretty much all religions, not just one specific religion. But I noticed that you focus a lot more on Christianity than the Muslims, than Catholic, than Baptist, Presbyterian, and the list goes on. But I want to know, why is it that you focus just on Christianity when there's some of us that want to know a little bit deeper about the other faiths as well, and where is the loopholes in there, and how you can break it down so easily as you do Christianity. I love your work. I look forward to your new audios, and keep up the empowerment, because I'm able to see things a whole lot differently than what I used to. Thank you, big brother, and I enjoy your red pill. Initials is look like JT Aftermath. Okay. Well, Mr. JT, I'm gonna go ahead and answer you. And of course, you who are listening, you are listening to Leon C, aka Morpheus, and you are in the Academy of Wildmen, and you are sitting down before your professor. You are in this room, and in this room is no different than what Neo did when he was before me, and I gave him the red pill. So I do the same, and for all my audios, I would like for you to use that imagination where you are in this room, and I'm sitting on the chair, and I have my black glasses on and my black jacket. And I'm sitting before you, getting ready to give you a lesson, to show you something. There's some things that you probably already know, and things that you need to know again. As adults, we get smarter. Yes, we know about our circumstances. Sometimes people have a hard time accepting a different avenue of their thought patterns. It is a very unique thing when I come across several people and I meet them face to face, and I treat them no differently than how I treat you, Neo, and I come to them lightly. And as a matter of fact, it's up to them who brings up the subjects and conversations. I'm just a realist, because as you know me, I have zero tolerance for stupidity. So I tell it like it is. But as you are sitting here, I am greatly appreciated that you are sitting here. You got your legs folded, and you are listening to the sound of my voice. So I'm going to get ahead, and I'm going to talk to you about simply why. You must know that everything has a root. Everything has a pattern. A lot of things, they branch from one thing to the other. Even myself, sometimes I may use other materials to use as an example, or I may talk about a movie, maybe even an anime, or something that you're familiar with, but that doesn't mean that I'm using it as a form of exactly what it is, saying that it is true, but it's just a story or a tool. See, I don't talk about other religions in a breakdown, because you must know that I trust you, Neos, to do the work yourself. See, in my lessons, I give you a path, and I break it down as much as possible, where these tools I give you, you can use them practically for almost everything else. It's almost like changing the lens of your glasses. It's almost like changing your vision, which is the red pill. Once you receive the red pill, you are able to see everything else in a different color, in a different way. And it does nothing but give you more options as to how you deal with it. See, the thing is about the religious history of all kinds. They all have a tethering. They all have a branch. They all tether to somewhat of a similar story when you do your history. And many of them are always in conflict as to whose history is true and whose isn't. It's all about who has the right deity, who is the right God, whether it's Jesus, Buddhist, Allah, Jehovah. And not only that, even in the Christian faith, you have so many other denominations as well, such as the Catholics, such as the Baptists, Presbyterian, list goes on. And they all teach from a different angle. And now where people get confused is that we all, even myself years ago, used to get comfortable in thinking that we are all attached to one particular trunk of a tree, that we are attached to this universal umbilical cord of fact. That's what we are trained to think of or to accept as a belief. And so what ends up happening is you have several thousands of people who will say, well, I'm going to choose this way of dealing with life and death and reality based on what denomination or belief indoctrination. And they get comfortable because they say, well, we are attached some way or the other to other religions, but there is a truth out of it all. You even hear somewhat so-called smart people say that, those who are somewhat with more degrees and hairs on your head and more time in the books than reality. And it sounds good. You know, some of these people are even called professors realistically. I'm just your play professor here at this academy because this is my profession here. But those who go out to the schools, those who teach classrooms, those who are in the church sectors that teach the pastors and the preachers how to indoctrinate their flock, sheeple, okay? They will ultimately get comfortable thinking that it's a universal thing, that it's God speaking to everyone in a different way. God is speaking to every individual based on that individual's tailored, did you hear the word that I used? Tailored lifestyle. But when you spend enough time studying religion such as I have, when you've traveled like myself, when you do your history and you listen to people and you hear the trigger words that are within the indoctrinations of all kinds of them, the trigger words will open up your mind. The trigger words will make you see exactly why some people will, here's your word, believe and have, here's another word, faith. And here's your final word, in a system. And here's your facts of indoctrination. Words that are circling around feelings. A lot of them use feelings and emotions to be attached to this belief system. Feelings and emotions is a very dangerous and detrimental thing to attach to something that you have not evaluated it to be real or ultimately real to where your soul and your life is resolved on it. See, the deception is most people, my dear friend, and I'm going to use the word again. I'm saying trigger words on purpose if you listen to me. Most people believe that I am talking bad about religion, or I just don't like religion, or that I'm attacking religion, whatever words they can use in their cognitive thinking or program thinking. but yet they don't sit back and evaluate what I'm actually saying and how I am presenting in this classroom unto you. When I have told you that my whole task is to empower you and to liberate your soul. And in order to do that is truth. Truth don't care about anything based on feelings or belief. Truth don't care about what you even think about a thing. Truth is going to be truth no matter what you feel, no matter how many trigger words your pastor spit in your face, no matter how many times and how long the choir sings, and no matter how many people play the drums, no matter how much is placed in the coffers or in the tithing and offering department. When the ushers come around and you put your savings, your life, your time, your energy, maybe even your car keys in that tray, it's still going to be the same when you go home. The teaching is still going to be the same for generation after generation. And as a matter of fact, it's been going on to the point where it is a traditional thing for family per family. And so the emotional investment in the trigger words that are attached to these so-called systems is so deep, where today, and as it have always been, there are many people who are looking for hope and identity. Those are very key things you need to understand. Listen carefully. Hope and identity is your largest, biggest key to understanding what I am teaching you and what others are teaching you in the indoctrination. I explained it to you multiple times that hope is for weak people. Hope is for those who have no faith and trust in themselves. Hope is for the hopeless, not for those who can get up off of their knees and make something happen. Identity is when you know who you are, when you know where you come from, when you know where you want to be at in life. When you take on an indoctrination from any service, from any outside force as indoctrination, and it is not you, it's not your genetic pattern. You wasn't born with it. Most times you were born into it. Most times, even culturally, you are born into the culture. It don't matter who you are and what type of bloodline you are. You can be a white child. You can be a black child. You can be a Mexican. You can even be Chinese. It doesn't matter who brings you in. It doesn't matter who created your genetic pattern. Okay? What happens is when you are growing up into a system, that's when the process of programming begins. That's the process of you being not only a written on canvas piece of paper. Now you are being cut, you are being modified, you are being folded into various objects that your family wants you to be put in, that your country, maybe even your step parents, maybe even your grandparents, and you got your schools, then you got your churches, so forth, so on. So you don't have to know the language by the school. The school doesn't teach you that when you are 5 years old. You will learn your language just by being raised up in that family. If you are a black child, you raised up in a white family, you'll learn their ways, their identity, and their speech patterns. Same as if you are an African. You can be from Africa. You can come here to America and you don't know any language. But if you are a 2-year-old child and you're around English long enough, you will know English, period. Mexican, same way. It doesn't matter because it comes with the territory of you being a fresh piece of paper being written on. So as time goes on, what happens is some people wake up. Some people get a thing called consciousness. They become conscious from the situation. They become red-pilled because of their situation. And they become enlightened by the situation. And the one thing that wakens up people the most is called instincts. Instincts is what have been attacked for so many years. Instincts is what happens when you are deceived by your environment. You are given bad food. You're given bad indoctrination. You're being lied to. But something on the inside is pegging you not to go forward. Something on the inside is waking you up. Something inside you is making you different than everyone else. That something is your instincts that's trying to wake you up. But in order to keep you from awakening, bad foods have to be created. Bad energy have to be created around you. Distractions have to be created around you. You have to constantly struggle for money around you. You have to put your whole life on a 9 to 5. For most people, a 9 to 9. In order to survive. So these things are constantly placated to keep you from awakening, because when you awaken, you will disconnect yourself from the matrix. And that is not what Agent Smith want you to do. It's a treacherous fight for identity. And those who are fortunate enough to wake up earlier, usually it's not just within their DNA, but some people will say within their destiny, in order to awaken themselves from the deceptions that have been spoon fed to them. And the bad part about it is, but the real part as well, or you can say miracle, if there's ever such thing, we are born into a lot of what we know today. We are raised in it. You know, like if you're raised an American, and actually, well, if let's say you're born an American, but you go to Russia when you're 2 years old, and you start speaking the language, and you'll have their accent, you'll have their ways and dress like them. The amazing part of that is you being dressed into the identity of that culture or that place or that state. But when you are able to awaken yourself from those types of, again, I call it indoctrination and programming, it's a miracle. It's a miracle that you are able to wake up. And how you are awakened is when you listen to the instincts that is within your nature. When you hear the true voice of what some of us call God, which is not a face of a man, not a face of a woman. It's just reality. It's nature. It's your surroundings. It's your instincts. It's time, suffering, and energy, Neo. And you will take the tidbits of enlightenment piece by piece that nature gives you, that your reality gives you, that the environment gives you, that even wise men may say with good words, trigger words, or whatever else. And you'll put the pieces together and you'll run right through the door. That means you see your opportunity to find out the truth of your life, of your reality, because you're looking for something. And a lot of people don't get to that point because they're comfortable being guided by the lapels, by their indoctrination in their system. And they get so comfortable in that. They get so comfortable getting the money, getting the attention, getting the false accolades. Where when I would say God, just for this study today, just for an example, God will try to awaken the individual with all kinds of signs, all kind of nature's blessings, as again, for this conversation. They will ignore it. They will ignore it and they will consider it to be insignificant. And Agent Smith will make it insignificant even further by not giving you accolades, gratification, and money and gifts when you find yourself. Now, how is this done? Well, easy. When you are meditating, when you are alone, when you disconnect yourself from family and friends, when you shut down your social media, when you go off on your own, when you decide to stay home at night and not go out to hang out with whomever, it's not going to feel good. Being alone sometimes is hard for a lot of people. Thinking for yourself is difficult. Taking the necessary sacrifice to say no to things that are sweet, things that taste good, things that may excite you, like the temptations that are around you, you get no benefit from it, but it helps your soul, but you're not going to get praised for it. You'll get praised for worshiping the matrix and the machines. You'll get praised for creating more mindless, easy, downtrodden, and demented engineering for humanity. But when you are making something good, when you are thinking good, when you are doing the right thing, when you are being an over the table type of person, you are this nice guy or nice woman who's overlooked. You are not appreciated. You're the housewife with the apron on and dirty hands and dirty knees from hard labor, laundry, kids, garden, drapes, ordering, cooking. This goes on. Oh, never forget the donkey. And you make it well. And you do the best that you can. You know, you put on your best. You smell your best. You act your best. Oftentimes it's overlooked. Oftentimes you don't get the praise because 90% of the society or people around you are Agent Smith. Only 10% are just only 10 people out of 100 may be just like you. So therefore, the idea is to win over your identity one point or the other. So therefore, that one individual who is awakened, not only is it a miracle, if you want to call it a miracle, but it also means they were meant to wake up. They were meant to be different. They were meant not to be in a sleeping mode, to be indoctrinated in whatever country, town, and city or religion that they're in. So therefore, when it comes to talking about different denominations and breaking it down to the Muslims, the Catholics, Baptists, Presbyterians, Jehovah's Witnesses, I have learned that there are several identities in one faith, and one religion is branched off in multiple directions, and all I see is a group of people who's trying to manipulate and conform their identity, their own way of trying to understand what the truth is. So therefore, getting into the facts is a very messy but yet disturbing thing for those who truly believe that their identity is in what they believe in. That's why people will quickly get offended. They will quickly get upset. They will quickly feel like they have a reason to verbally assault or to verbally get into a debate, because to them it is life and death. And believe it or not, my channel is not only based on religion. I speak on every subject that is according to your empowerment. Every subject that can enlighten you. So I really steer clear away from making it to be a religious conversation. So therefore, I try to keep it simple with one subject and break it down as to creating a path of tools that can be played out and used for every other part of subject or sector that is according to the subject. You see? That doesn't make them right or wrong. It doesn't make the other religions or other ideologies that I speak of better than what I am discussing at the moment. Because you have to do your just diligence at home and take what I tell you about one subject or one religion or one form of relationships, family, and so forth, and you use that as your viewing glass to evaluate the rest of them, and there is almost a guarantee that you're going to see it differently. It's a guarantee that that same tool that you've used or that you've learned of what subject that I talk about, you use that for another subject in your personal life or your personal home or towards other religions, and you'll begin to see where are those dark holes at and broken bridges, and the facts will come to you. I've done that myself personally a long time ago. And so therefore, that's how I'm able to understand that it is nothing but a run of hope and identity. And as your empowerment professor and being Morpheus for you, I want nothing more from you than for you to be empowered and to own your identity. Owning your identity is the most serious thing and greatest gratifying thing you can find on human earth. And the one thing I teach you is that you do not find your full identity in the truth of who you are based in indoctrination and what somebody tells you that you are. Definitely when it comes from tradition, it must be based on you being there, have done that, have experienced it, have written the book, and have set before the sins of your deities or the situation, or broken the bread, okay, or made the miracle, or did the miracle yourself in order for you to be completely at peace and completely resolved in what you put your life on, because you put your life on this thing. If your life is on it and you are expecting it to be an attachment to hell and heaven, you better doggone sure. You better make sure that you are 120% correct, and you cannot ever do that. You cannot ever be 100% resolved or 120% absolutely sure if you're going by an indoctrination and a tradition that was just passed along by rumor and gossip, not by science, facts, and evolution. It will never happen, and you will hurt yourself, because all you could ever do is go back to what they told you from your books. They told you from the indoctrinated services, and all you can ever do is quote scripture and words from somebody else's creation and mouth, and never your own. So therefore, in the end, you will never own yourself, nor would you ever be the owner of your own destiny. Now let's move forward. Neo. Now I'm going to read this next emailer. Morpheus Leon C. In this passage of the day, I've been wondering greatly about the gun rights law and movement around the country. There are so many people who are against guns, and there are some who are for guns. And there's so many of them, especially even the younger generation, teenagers and those who are fresh out of college, who are marching against guns and really do not know the logistics or the reason why they are marching to begin with, or why they are advocating against owners having guns to protect themselves. I want to know how you, he's going to say how you feel about this, but I'm going to say how you think. What do you think about this? I don't do feel. Listen, my viewers and Neo, I don't do feelings in my audios. If you want feelings, go somewhere else where there's some Care Bears and Pokemon. Okay, I deal with facts here, not feelings. Let's get back to the reading. Do you think that people have the right to bear arms, or should it be taken away based on the fear dynamic that it have created? I enjoy your content. You are getting better and better in every audio. Keep up the good work. You're opening the lives and the minds of so many people, and you are reaching the goal of saving lives. And if I haven't said it already, he states his name is Mr. Berkeley. I probably pronounced it wrong the first time, but Mr. Berkeley. Well, Mr. Berkeley and my Neos, I'm not going to say I'm going to tread lightly with this one, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be raw and uncut. I don't condone violence, okay? And nor do I promote violence, so I'm not going to give you any tips in this one. I'm not going to tell you what you should and should not do in a situation, because that's not up to me to do that. I am your professor. Yes, I can give you some ideas of what you can do to help yourself, but I'll let you make the decisions on your own. Now I'm going to take my time with this, and I'm going to make it very clear and thorough as well, because sometimes we don't get it. If you listen to what Mr. Berkeley said in this email, he said teenagers and college students fresh out of college fighting to get rid of basically people having guns and the ability basically to defend themselves with the guns that they own. Okay. Now think about that for a moment. Well, I'm not going to go deep into it yet. I'm going to take my time, because some of you are already on Morpheus's energy band. So I'm gonna give you a story, and this have happened before, and it's possible. But because we are living in La La Land today, because we are so soft gloved today, because we are no longer the strong species, mind focused and genetically inspired and affiliated with understanding nature and anatomy and the chemistry of those around us, we are sap happy and moist and soft and been boiled too long like a pot of noodles, which have gone sticky and pasty. That's us today. And a lot of us are responsible for it because we sponsor. Here's another video for you to look at. I made a audio called Sponsored Evil. You need to listen to that one as well. We sponsor what we're dealing with today with groups of people and those who can't face reality because they don't want to. When you live a plush lifestyle and everything is at your fingertips, you got dumb phones. You can order your pizza. You can order your food. You can order your life. You can order cars now. You can get your escorts. You can even, yeah, of course, you can go online with the dating and all that. Of course, women of all cultures, of all colors and of all kinds standing there waiting for you to get into their DMs or make up the hookups, or if you got the right amount of dollars, they're willing to hear you out in more ways than one. So you pretty much have everything. And a lot of these people as well, they live in a bubble where they have lived that lifestyle for so long where they want to disarm the entire society against what's best for themselves because they don't know what reality is. And let's go further before some of you start getting offended. Because if you're in a classroom, listen to what the professor's saying first, then you raise your hands afterwards. So right now, just shut up. All right. So let's say that you're in a house and you're upstairs. You have a 2-story house. Well, not 2-story. You got a staircase going upwards. You got a downstairs and the upstairs. Let's keep it simple. Okay. And you're up there, you in your room, your computer room. Okay. Playing on your dumb phone, trying to see who's texting you, who's calling you. You just got home. You're home alone and got some free time to yourself. You locked all the doors. You got your so-called smart electronic system, which I know everything about. You got your cameras set up in front of your house, which is a joke. You have all these man-made technologies to help you in your human-made lifestyle. because you have to have computers to think for you. So you're up there and you're having fun with more plastic and electronics, not doing much anything organic, using your head like reading a book. And you hear some noise downstairs and you hear some breaking glass. And you don't have a gun, but you have I'm not going to tell you I can't say that because that'd be my disclaimer. I'm just going to say you have stuff around your room that you may actually look at as a possible defense system, but you're actually startled because you realize that somebody's trying to get into your house. Now, I want you to pause this because this is how I teach in my Academy of Wildman for a moment. I'm going to get back to this scene right here. Now, the funny thing is about truth, it exposes reality that's around us, and we don't really want to get to it. So now I'm going to tell you what's been said. Now, don't take it from Morpheus. I didn't create this, nor did I say it. They said it. The news said it. Okay. People around you said it. Your dumb phones have said it. Okay. They already said that people who was weakened, or shall I say people who was taken down by the so-called sickness, the cocoa, right, already had preconditions already. They were already somewhat ill. All right. And a lot of them was from various ranges, and most of them, as they said, was older people. Okay, older people. And not only that, statistically, we have here in America a case of obesity. Some cultures have a bad case of diabetes. Then the rise of cancer. And of course, around your country, whether you want to stand by it or not, there is still a bad case of STDs because we don't want to be committed in a stable relationship. And I told you what I think about that, where when you are committed with a person, you might as well stay with them or the few that you are with. But unfortunately, I was getting ready to jump to a different subject, but I'm going to slow myself down. Unfortunately, we don't have long vision and we don't concern ourselves with real life reality. Okay, because we are so accustomed to being lackadaisical and not being stable in a relationship. So basically, we are dealing with a people who aren't well internally or externally, and definitely mentally, because of the plush lifestyle that they live. Everything is accessible. Even not thinking thoroughly is accessible. So getting back to the scene of what I'm talking about, you think that you are capable of defending yourself because you decided to vote for not having guns. Now, you don't have a gun in the house. Okay, you don't have a shotgun, you don't have a 9mm, list goes on. You have nothing. Okay, no trajectory weapon, no projectile that can help you from 6 feet to 10 feet, the list goes on. So you think you macho man, which I'm just telling you based on historical facts and recent discovery that most people aren't physically fit, that most people aren't capable of even taking care of themselves, let alone being in a defense system, no matter how smart you think you are or how many tasers you got in the house. So now you're standing in this room and you call the police, as what some common people do. You scared. Some people will huddle up in the corner somewhere, right? And urinate on yourself. Okay, a lot of other people, you fight or flight, looking for the nearest window, your face turned completely beet red because now you're scared, you out of your mind. I've seen this situation before. That's how I know this. I've been there where I was at a shop one day and this guy behind the counter was just doing his everyday job, just taking care of the machines that were there. Actually, I was in a car shop. It wasn't for me, it was for one of my clients. And a woman ran in there asking for help because she was running from someone, probably an abuser or someone, who knows who she's running from. But she ran into the shop and she ran past everyone, and she ran behind the desk. She ran behind the countertop where the cash register guy was standing. Okay. And he didn't know what to do. It was such a quick, frantic situation. And I was sitting there talking to my client with my legs crossed. And I seen this girl run in there. She just bashed in there, jumped behind the counter. Help me, help me, help me, help me. I need help. I'm being chased. I'm threatened for my life. And the guy behind the counter turned completely beet red. He froze in place. Some of you don't understand what real fear is because you're so comfortable with playing Call of Duty. You know, you're so comfortable only living your life playing video games, and you think it's reality. But when reality really hits you and the real thing's happening, you don't know what to do. You freeze. Fear makes you freeze. So he froze in place. You know, he looked like a lit up red lollipop or something. So I got off my chair, and I had to reassure the girl that she was going to be okay, that nobody was going to come into the shop and chase her. And I asked her what was going on in the situation. And apparently whoever was chasing her didn't come into the shop, nor did they come near. Most likely they kept on going and didn't want to make a public display. Officers didn't need to show up on the scene. There was no domestic violence. Nothing happened. But the girl needed to be calmed down. And of course, I began to speak to her how to take it to the next measures, not to go back where she had come from, and to go somewhere safe. Everything pretty much worked out at the time. But the gentleman, Neo, at the time, he was still kind of racked up and nervous and couldn't believe his eyes in the situation. And I just tried to reassure him to let him know that happens all the time. And sometimes you just have to be prepared for that. That's just real life. And so the same similar situation happens when you're in this house and you're curled in the corner. You know, there's only so many places you can run and hide. You know, some people think they're out hiding in their bed, hide behind the door, hide in the bathroom I can't say it, with something in your hands. Okay. And some people will, you know, go into their closet and, you know, look for something or even hide in it, for most of them. And then here you are face to face with the person rummaging the house. So you have a decision while you're making the phone call, you're hiding, and you're waiting for the officers to show up, which sometimes is late. OK, because it's just not possible. There's so many things they can do. They do the best they could do. Sometimes they're not going to be there accurately. Okay, just not going to happen because we're supposed to be adults too. I'm not going to go there right now. You have your own castle. You know how to take care of it. You are supposed to do that. But sometimes we are so handicapped in childlike mentality where we grow to be children. We always expect for people to spoon feed us with our own logic. There are rules and regulations and ways that you defend yourself. And I'm not going to get into that right now. So the trickery part about it is they take everything. And sometimes they'll leave and never come back, or they come back, get some more things, however they do it. Or they'll go further around the house and decide to take more and find out where the rooms are and so forth, so on. And practically at that time, you are helpless. OK, and this is why they tell you that you don't need to put your life on the line for your products, because you can buy it. You know, whatever they come in the house and steal, you can get it back. OK, but there's one thing that you can't get back, and that is your life. So therefore, they take whatever they take, whether the cops show up sooner or later. At least you are still breathing after you come crawling from underneath your bed. OK, but some situations don't play out like that, because you could be in your house and you're right there in your studies, right where the front door is. And it happens in some countries. Well, I ain't gonna say some countries, actually in some cities around you. You just don't hear about it, and it's not on the news, and it's too frightening for people to talk about. But they bash the door open and you're standing right there in all your birthday suit, your robe, or you sitting in front of your computer or in front of your dumb TV, eating popcorn, watching a good soap opera or whatever you're watching, you know, The Simpsons. And there's nothing you can do. They got a mask on their face. The thing is about a criminal that I have to tell you, they don't care about your cameras. They don't care about gun laws. They don't care that that you are home alone, or probably when you're there with someone. Their whole idea is to get what they want and leave. Whatever laws that and this is good for teenagers and dumb kids, teenagers and those who come from college indoctrination, those who talking about they're against the gun law. They don't care about your gun laws. You got to understand, they care about getting what they want and leaving. Whatever rules, it's for you. Listen, Neo, the rules is for you. It's not for them. They are criminals for a reason. They are breaking in your house for a reason. Okay? You got to be stupid to think that whatever laws you have, you write it on a billboard and you put it outside your house. The law says for you not to do this. The law says, do you think they care about that? And most of them probably don't care to even read anyway. All they read is their mind and their subconsciousness to tell them to take and to steal and to rob and to kill. Okay, only you got to be the living, breathing idiot to think that they're going to abide by your laws, whether you register your gun or not. Their guns may not be registered, okay, and their guns are probably passed from one person to the next, or it's given to them, or whatever the case is, and they're going to use it to get you while you're standing there without a gun. So you are at a disadvantage. So they bust into your door because you smart. And you're sitting on your couch in your skimpy boxers with your hairy chests and pink nipples, right? What you going to do? Negotiate with them? Okay, they're not there to negotiate. They're going to tell you to get down on your face. Okay, or they're going to put you on your face. And while they take everything that you have, no matter if you are compliant or not, there are some people who are so ruthless where they'll make sure that there's no witnesses left behind. Okay, whether they have a mask on their face or not, you won't mean anything to them. All right, what you going to do? You're going to throw the remote control at them? You're going to say, oh, sir, I am a good abiding citizen of the law, and please don't rob me because I don't have anything to defend myself with. Or what you going to say? Don't get me. I have kids and I have a wife and I want to live to see tomorrow. As if they care about that. Most times criminals are people who do wrong. On a large scale, it's premeditated. They thought about that before they decided to attack you. And they have a lot of adrenaline at that time. And the more they are anxious to get what you have or your life, they have even more adrenaline. Adrenaline prevents people from thinking, and it makes them stronger and faster. So they don't care about what you're saying. What they want you to do is shut up while you sitting there trying to negotiate with them. Or you'll say something like, well, go ahead and take my wallet over there. You can take this. Don't come in here like that. I called the cops 5 minutes ago. They'll be here. As if that's going to scare them. If they was afraid of the cops, they wouldn't try to rob you to begin with. And you thinking, well, it's not going to happen at home. Whether you're in the parking lot, coming from your college dorm, it don't matter. Evil is evil. And you still going to be standing there talking about, well, I signed up not to have any defense system, so I'm just going to just take whatever evil comes to me, and they will take everything that you have that is not defended. Taser or not, you can't reach them that far and that fast. Not as fast as a bullet. And so you're standing there probably at the pearly gates around this time. And your pink boxers with stars and hearts on it. And I can imagine Neo, your interpretation of God, like in Homer Simpson, standing there with long white beard on and yellow skin, asking you, why are you here? Why are you here? And you would say something like, well, I don't know. Next thing I know, I was sitting down watching the Home and Cooking Network in my boxers. Somebody kicked in the door and took everything. And next thing I know, everything got black. And of course, God will ask why. He said, well, I don't know. They were evil people. They were criminals. They were wrong. They just stole something. Okay, no. Then God will ask you again, why? You're like, well, I don't know what you mean, God. What do you mean? Then God will have to break it down to you, pull out a chalkboard and put very simple words on there where kindergartners can understand. It will be like, you let it happen. You did not love your life. You did not care for you. You was sleepwalking and you let the enemy come in. You have never for years, and here come God turning around with his white beard, looking at you in your face now, 2 inches apart from your nose. In the history of war, in the history of battle, in the history of enemy versus enemy, have ever negotiate with your enemy unless you are negotiating from a position of power. When you are powerless, you are going to be ran over or shot. While you standing there trying to negotiate to not have any arms to protect yourself. Now, I know what a lot of other people are thinking, and I'm going to go there for a minute about defense. And I'm not teaching you anything here, even though I want you to be empowerment, because I know how ridiculous people are. I know how many Twinkies and Ho-Hos that we've been eating and how much chicken we golf every day. I see y'all wrapped around the fast food places, and I know what you drink at these fountains and these convenient marts, these gas station convenient marts. So I'm not going to tell you to be physically active. If anything, I'll probably be the one to tell you to run. Go ahead and jump out the window. You'll be fine. You'll break a leg, but you'll live. Okay. Because I know if you try to defend yourself in a situation like that, that's why they would tell you, and some other professionals and even police will say, don't try it, because your chances are slim to none, because the way that you individuals are on the day basis, your life is lazy. OK, you're too busy push button your life to sleep. You are smartphoning yourself to a stupid lifestyle. OK, where everything is given to you by a platter. And when it's time for you to lift up your legs to do something, you're going to fall on your face. Just like those girls you see in those horror movies that's being chased by Freddy and Jason. When they're running, they always falling down and run into a tree or something like that. Some blonde white girl, you be like, dang, get up. You yelling at her to get up. She's not used to that physical activity and used to being, at that certain adrenaline rush, because when real life come at you, it's too late. You got to be at your best and your maximum performance. But I would tell you this, I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm not giving you any tips. Like I said, I don't condone violence at all. All right. So don't think that this is what it's all about, because Morpheus stays away from giving out false information. OK. As a martial artist myself, OK, I have learned to be trained in situations like that. Whereas, unlike you maybe needing a projectile. OK, I'm talking about the majority. I'm not talking about some of you who are trained. OK, I'm not dousing everybody. I don't operate like that. OK, everything around me is lethal. It don't matter what it is. I'll find a way. OK, and I have been trained to find a way. OK, so I don't have to worry about if my arms is downstairs, if it's locked away, if it's in the closet. All right. Realistically, you'd want me to get that first, then compare it to what I will do without it. All right. And there are certain procedures that they'll say, OK, they don't recommend because you're not like me or other people who are trained, of course, like police officers and military men. You haven't been there and done that. And oftentimes you can go above and beyond. There's a such thing called disarming your enemy. You disarm them where they can't harm you or no one else, and you stop. If you go further, now you are assaulting them. Now you end up in prison or in jail or in trouble because now you assaulted someone. Yeah, they get in trouble for breaking and entering into your house, but you get in trouble for what you do further because you should have stopped when you had the chance to. When they can no longer harm you or hurt you, you need to walk away. But that's why they say don't get into it, because a lot of people have no self-control. You're not common with that situation. So therefore, you go above and beyond. OK, However, in my incidents, what I'm saying is I'm trained for this and have practiced and have studied. So therefore, it's not a concern for me. So if I say that arms is not needed, that will be for my own personal preference and what I'm capable of doing, but not for the majority, or shall I say for everyone else. It's not fair to everyone else who loves their Twinkies and their ho-hos, or who have a realistic heavyweight problem. There are some people who are big and out of shape because of some type of illness. There are some people who have pancreatic problems or diabetes. There's those who might have one eye. There are some people who are on disabilities. There are so many people, grandpas, grandmother, who just can't move that fast, but they know how to swing their finger around if they want to. They'll know how to use that index finger real easy. Okay. And cook in the kitchen and dice and, they know how to, use the utensils in the kitchen quite well to cook their food, sharp objects, okay, to cut their carrots and to gut their turkey if they need to for Thanksgiving. All right. But if you are saying specifically that it is the pistol itself that is the problem, then you're thinking something's wrong with your head. Because I told you this in one of my other audios, it is not that guns kill people. It's people who kill and hurt people, sick people. OK, now, the ideal of it is, let's go just a little bit further for some of you who are in the back of this classroom where you always are throwing wads of paper and throwing paper airplanes. You better stop. Otherwise, I'm going to send you out of here faster than you can spell the word. OK, out of 100 people, there are at least 25 and up. No less than 25 of those people who are mentally ill around your country, around who you are. We're doing statistics here. We're doing the mathematic equations of why a lot of this is a struggle. Okay. And why a lot of people on the opposite end is saying that it's not a good idea to have a floating arm out there somewhere. Okay. Which it really doesn't matter, because it's still a feeling thing. At the end of the day, it's an emotional thing, as I told you, because those who are mentally ill and they're going to do wrong, they're going to do wrong anyway, regardless of what laws you pass. So you'll be the idiot to disarm yourself. But let's go further, idiot. OK, so 25% of them, OK, are mentally ill. They've been in a mental hospital. They're taking medications. They got history of anger. They got history of abuse, and they got history of abusing others, cats, dogs, people, children, no matter what. They have history of that. So that's something that is always in a circulation. That percentage is always there. But yet there's arms around them. There's possibilities where they can get a hold of a firearm, is what some people say. OK, so that somewhat is nervousing for a lot of people who's in what do you call that? And I can't find it, so that's fine. I'll leave it alone. Their mind is somewhere else on the moon. OK, then you have a higher upper percentage, which I would consider to be, I would say 35% of them. And it's actually more than that, to be honest with you. I'm willing to say 50% out of 100 people are on some type of under the counter drug. If it's not marijuana, it's opioids. It's some type of pain medicine. OK, it's ecstasy pills. It's Fippy Flappies, and it's alcohol. So you have this poisonous snake in the society, in your environment, who's actually destroying the instincts and the mind. Listen, Neo, of your average people who, again, have the ability to get a hold of arms one way or the other, whether it's for defense or whether it's for offense. So now you have another stage of a reason to be nervous, and a reason why some people who advocate to get rid of guns and say, let's just get rid of guns altogether. OK, in their thinking, let's get rid of guns altogether. All right. And so therefore, the wrestle begins. But then if you listen to my audios before in the past, Mr. Berkeley, in every audio, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the mentality of the individual. I'm talking about the internal mechanism and the hurt and pain in the average person. So instead of these so-called against groups, these so-called marching, these so-called I am against you defending yourself people, understanding that it is not the gun that's sick, it's the person who's holding the gun. Do you understand? Instead of them looking at the root of the problem, they want to patch it with a Band-Aid and make everyone hurt for that sick individual or person. They want everyone to be disarmed. They want everyone not to be in a position of defense because, again, everyone isn't martial artists. Everyone isn't Morpheus. You're not. A lot of people aren't trained like that. Like I said, they're just older, weakened, sickened, kind of slowed down individuals who can't do that. So it becomes an unfair, unbalanced system where you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable for any sort of attack that comes at you. And a lot of these individuals, what they get settled for, I told you, this little bitty taser in their pocket. OK, and they think they have the defense of an army sitting there. When for some people, depending on their chemistry and their anatomy, your taser is not going to work. If anything, your taser is going to make them even more angrier. If anything, when adrenaline is pumping through this guy or woman's blood and there is drugs involved, they will come at you like a zombie and get you further for the fact that you are tasering them. OK, so that is not the end all and be all. But when you are a child playing with matchsticks when you are a kid, OK, you don't understand that logic burns your deception. OK, so we come out of colleges, fresh out of school. We sit here and play games online. OK, we sit here and live a plush American push button, lazy, I can't think for myself lifestyle. So where we think everything is unrealistic until reality hits us in the face. Until we're that person sitting in the front room with our boxers on and somebody kicks the door in and puts down everybody that's around us, OK, and take from us, then finish us off in the end. We are never going to face reality and realize it is not the items that we use that's sick. It's the people. It's it's the society that don't want to face reality, that there are people who need mental help. You need mental help. So if you deal with the mental part of the person, when you deal with what they are doing, they're struggling at home, they're struggling in their life, they're struggling for opportunity, they're struggling for kind compassion, they're struggling for virtuous women. Hello. They're virtuing for righteous truth and behavior. OK, and we just completely overlook it. All these manners mean nothing. Morpheus, he's the one smoking on a large, pack stogie. Right. Maybe he just go home and just swig down a whole 12 case of something, or the hardest 151, whatever it is. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm just going to Band-Aid my life like we usually do here in America. Just Band-Aid everything and pretend as everything's going to be OK. When we don't understand that we ourselves. See, let me tell you something about what we don't understand. And I know y'all have your opinions about the situation. You're in the Academy of Wildman. If you don't like what I'm teaching and what I preach, get out. That's your fault for coming here. I don't hold back. OK, that's your problem. That's not Morpheus' problem. You decided to toggle on here. You decided to toggle on into my academy. I keep it raw and uncut. This is for adults here. If you are a child, leave. What I mean, child mentality in your thinking. If you can't handle the facts, that's your issue. Go speak to your own psychological doctor. What we don't understand is we walk around with a chip in our forehead. And this psychological chip is the thing that is actually destroying America and everybody else's lives because we live in a plush bubble and circle. We want everybody to be like us. We don't think about the long-term effects when we support laws, when we march for something, when we advocate against something that's actually been working for years. OK, and logically will work and realistically will work. Okay, we are the ones who will disarm or take away our own liberties, take away our own freedoms. We take away our own ability to be a free citizen. We take away, listen, Neo, we take away our own ability to walk out on the street and be what the hell we want to be. Because we want to be a programmed species by taking away the very things that does nothing but make sense. It does nothing but make sense when you're sitting down on the couch and you got a large cold steel laying next to you right there on your leg, or sitting right there on the couch. When somebody busts the door open, you pick that thing up and you aim it. You're going to give them pause immediately. They're going to think twice about walking because they see that big barrel sitting there pointing at them. Okay. The only thing they're going to be able to take is a few steps backwards or a few in them. Do you understand? And therefore, you can live to see another day. Your family can live to see another day. Your children can live to see another day. They don't care about your cameras. They don't care about your double bolted doors and your smart, dumb system of electronics and ADT, whatever you think you got around your house. They want what they want. But when you bring your walls down, they're going to get what they want a lot easier. I tell this to people in martial arts when I teach them, and in physical training, and those who wants to get into wrestling and self-defense, and those who are trying to take care of their children, especially when it comes to taking care of the child's future. I always tell them, I say, listen, the one thing that you never, ever want to do, you don't want to be that person who's going to be in that situation and regret that you was not prepared. Regret that you was not prepared. Even your officials, even the president himself isn't so stupid enough to walk around unguarded. He has his own group of professional guards themselves. Even the country themselves, the country has an army and a protective unit. You got the Navy. You got the Secret Service, who is here to protect lives. What makes you think you can walk around like some automaton and you can put down this defensive barrier and all you can do is make one phone call? They're going to get there 5 seconds too late, no matter where. They can be across the street. They can never be as fast as a speeding bullet. And then you're done for. And now you sitting there in front of the pearly gates. Well, I didn't want any firearms, but it got me anyway. Because I'm so great. I'm just, I'm invincible. Listen, let me ask you a question. And I think this will be fair. Okay. And it's not a bash, but just think about it. I'm going to ask you one question and just say yes or no. We're going to destroy this right here and now with all arguments. And whenever you hear this debate somewhere on TV and people are talking about, the gun laws, advocate for arming or unarming, I'm going to ask you a question. And this is the only question I'm going to ask you. And if the way that you answer it, okay, will determine exactly what type of species you are. And that will end the argument. Are you invincible? If you say that you are invincible, okay, you are the reason why this country is struggling. You're the reason why we end up in detrimental situations where our laws, our rights, our amendments are being taken from us. You're the reason why families are struggling with holding up the authority at home with their own children and family, because you're the very person that want to put the power and your own authority in somebody else's hands and let them lead you like a dog on a leash. If you say that you are not invincible, then you know that not only do you have a right to defend yourself, you have a right to understand that your life is valuable and you only got one life, and that you are not impervious to hurt, harm, and danger. No matter how hard you pray or how many blocks of steel you hide yourself behind. Because once it's all said and done, that mistake cannot be redone. You can't do it. And a lot of people, this is what I mean, Neo, about a lot of people being in a space bubble and thinking it's all a video game. They think that Once a criminal comes and get them at a gas station, once a criminal gets you when you least expect it, right? You know, they think that they can reset the game and start all over again and make a different decision. You know how you got a video game and you make a mistake. You know, one of the enemies, they get you. Or they kill you. You know, the zombies bite you. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, well, I'm just going to reset it and do like, that's the thinking of a lot of these people in society. That's their mindset. But yet they got families around them. They got children. They got wives. Some of them, you know, I expect you don't have a wife thinking like that. Listen, if you think like that, I feel sorry for your wife. I'm just going to put it like, I'm going to be honest. I told you, I don't hold back. I feel sorry for your wife if you think like that. I feel sorry for her. And if I knew her, I'd be like, you know what, go find somebody else who's going to protect you. Sweetheart, please find somebody who's going to be a man and protect you. OK, they're the very people who will say, well, I think I can reset the game. You can't redo it. Once you make a mistake like that, where you are going to be unprepared in the situation, when you get mulled over, there's no talking to God, telling God, please send me back to my human body so I can redo my mistake, my life mistake. The wise men have been telling us for years. They've been saying this for years. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, because it is worse for you to need it and not have it. It is the worst. It's almost like you're getting ready to go to the Indy 500 or something like that, or out of town, right? And you drive 150 miles and you look into your backpack and you realize, you realized you left your wallet at home. You left your passport at home. You left your money and your wife don't have it, or she don't have it. And you got to drive 150 miles back to get that thing that you should have had. Right? That same sinking feeling is the same, but there's no return. There's no return flight from that. There's no going back. And let's go further as far as this floating gun is concerned. I think he's talking about, let's see. Let's go further. And the reason why there are and maybe some floating guns out there anyway, by owner to owner or person to person, okay, is that same measure. When you have 25% of people who are mentally ill, you got 50% of them who are on some type of drugs. Okay, they're still going to do wrong, and they're still going to be wrong, and have nothing to do with you. Listen, why would you disarm yourself against 50% of people who aren't going to do right anyway? You tell me if that makes sense. If they're teaching you that in whatever college you come from, you know, I like to have a conversation with the so-called professor, you know, because you are being taught wrong. Something is wrong with your logic and your deception, because if there are, even 10%, let's go for 10%. Let's say 10% out of 100. OK. And you got 90% chance, you know, you living your life, la la, you whistling, woo-hoo-hoo, everything's fine. Everything is fine. Everything's cool. But it's still Russian roulette. You still got 10% against you because it's only one time. All it takes is one time. All it takes is one time. And when you are defenseless, when you are standing there with a taser in your pocket or a broomstick or something like that, thinking that's going to help you, or whatever, you know, Ginsu, I ain't going to go there, something, you know, to throw because you think you Karate Kid, because you've been watching too much TV, or Karate Girl, right? There are people out on the street that would teach you that you know nothing about karate, nor yourself. By the time you even pick up a leg or your arm to even think, you will see lights out. I'm only telling you the facts. I got to keep it. Listen, I got to keep it raw like that. I have to keep it straightforward, because it's senseless to think that with that 10% that's coming out, that comes at you, and it's only a one-time deal. It is, if you have it, you are okay. If you don't have it, you are going to be in the worst condition where you would have been able to defend yourself from that 10%, or from the 10 people out of 100 who would do something bad against you. There was a YouTube, actually, and I think a lot of you probably know about this, and y'all probably seen it. There was a guy who walked into I think it was a liquor store, and the clerk actually had his gun with him. He had his gun with him, and the clerk was probably used to people going into that store and robbing and threatening or whatever that they do. So he was prepared this time. Here we go. Have it, not need it. Need it, not have it. If you don't have it, put the safety clip on, put it in the safety, your safety belt, conceal it, whatever you need to do, be on about your way. It may be laggy, it may be uncomfortable. You may sit on it every now and then. I wouldn't recommend it. It's uncomfortable. I understand. Right? This little piece of code still, you got to be cautious all the time. You got to make sure that you are responsible for your arms. I understand that. But for children, that's difficult. Grown children. For those who are, fresh out of they're in their space bubble. Right? They're living in the Wizard of Oz lifestyle where they can just put their hands in their pocket, just like their cars. They push a button, the car unlock for them. They got, like push button dials on their house. You can put on your dumb phone how to turn on your, change your temperature in your house, right, from your dumb phone because you're too lazy to do it yourself when you get home. So, we think that we can do that as well when it comes to evil and treacherous situations. So when it comes to real life physics, having something to be responsible for as an adult, I understand it's too difficult for you. I can pat you on the back and say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's too hard for you. You was grown, you was raised yesterday. Tough luck. But he took that opportunity because he had it and didn't need it, but he actually needed and he did have it instead of needing it and not having it. Because what happened was that guy came into his liquor store. It was probably a gas station where this gas station was selling liquor store. Some of you know about this anyway, because it's been on YouTube for a long time. It's on there when you look on it. And before the guy walked in there to pull out his gun to point it at the cash register guy, the guy behind the cash register was ready for him. He was ready for him. He picked up his gun and pointed it straight at the guy's face and told him, I wish you would. I wish you would. And the cameras indicated that the person, what did I tell you about the story? When they're busting your house door open and you sitting down in your skimpy boxers on the chair and they'll be walking backwards. The guy in the video started walking backwards. And he thought twice and he left the store, and I don't know what happened after that. I'm pretty sure he never came back because his face was on the camera. Okay, now imagine the 10% that are there that are just everywhere around you. You don't know any time of day it's going to happen. You're whistling on your dumb phone thinking that everything is cool, and you're in that same station, you're in that same position. And you're this cashier and you got a fresh brand new wife at home and she's pregnant. The classic American dream story that, has several faces. And you're getting ready to go home and see your 3-year-old child. But you're standing there saying, I don't believe in guns. Guns kill people. Right. And so the guy goes into the store and boom, right there in your face. And all you doing is standing there like a patsy that you want to be. And you have no means to protect yourself. All you got is a cash register and some candy and probably a box of cigarettes. What you going to do? Negotiate with them? And what you going to do here? You can take my shoes, my hat. I just brought this shirt yesterday. It's sweaty and stinky, but you can have it. I mean, what are you going to do? Take everything in the store? They will take everything in the store and your life at the same time. There are people who don't survive in that situation, no matter how smart and passive you think you are. There are some people who've been tortured in that situation. They'll tie you up and do the unthinkable. And either you're going to be paralyzed in the hospital with barely a chance to live, or you just won't exist at all. And you standing there talking about you want everybody to be disarmed. What if there's somebody who is armed and they're behind the store somewhere in the ice cream aisle and you don't have a pistol, but they see that you are in trouble, but this gun owner can protect you. This gun owner that's in front of the ice cream freezer part notices that this person is pointing the gun in your face. And now, since you don't have a gun, but this other person does because you're too scared and don't have no responsibility and can't be accountable for yourself because you're scared of anything that has anything to do with responsibility besides watching somebody else's plantation, being your pack mule that most of us love to be. I was going to say slaves, but that's too harsh for some people. Y'all can't handle that. And out of the kindness of his heart, he put his life on the line and pulls out his arms to protect you. What are you going to say about that? Now you're still against guns? I told you again, guns don't kill people. People kill people. And those who are looking over the fact that most people are mentally ill, you are doing no justice. As a matter of fact, your devastation is even worse than any type of pistol, because when you overlook mental illness and mental disease and undercover drugs that people are on a day-to-day basis, you're making the situation worse, where they're even worse than a ticking time bomb and a loaded gun. That means they can do anything at any time. And that's not the only thing that's lethal. Blades are as well. Because if it's not going to be that, it's going to be something else. What are you going to do? Everybody's going to be working with cooking and cleaning and operating their house with plastic spoons and forks. You're going to be negotiating with plastic spoons and forks. OK, what are you going to do with somebody who's 6'2", 320 pounds and you're 120 pounds? What you're going to do is, OK, fine. We just fisticuff now. And now they start doing I can't even say it because that's giving suggestions here. All right. They're 6'2", they're 320 pounds, and they say, you know what, let's get physical. What you going to do now when half of you are out of shape, diabetic, disease, sick, okay, and what do you call that? On some type of assistant program, okay, and have some type of physical disabling situation. What are you going to do then? You're still going to be wishing, you're still going to be thinking, and you're still at the end of your crossroad when you stand in front of your Jesus Christ and God. You're still going to be saying, well, I should have, and I wish I should have. And then you know what God's going to say? Too bad. You was out of your mind and you was an idiot. It don't matter how you look at it, evil is going to find a way to try to destroy good. But when you make good vulnerable, to be overtaken and destroyed by evil, it's going to do that no matter what, because evil is going to be evil at the end of the day. It's going to find a way, whether it's, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best not to give out anything. I'm trying my best. Evil is going to find a way. And you're going to be the one mindless and vulnerable, and there's no coming back from it. There's no reset in this video game. Stop being children and expecting for people to jump in line and be your mommy and daddy and hold your hand. You got to learn how to protect yourself and understand that defense is for a reason. Evil don't care about defense. It cares about vulnerability, and it's going to make a way to make you vulnerable, even by having people around you with computer chips in their head to tell you to be vulnerable to attack. So you will never come back. You'll never get an opportunity at life again from ignorance. Put that in your magazine. Now, I'm going to add this at the end before I talk about the next emailer here, Neo. And I'm not a psychologist, but I did a lot of studies in the field. And I know a lot about emotions in the mind. And I know what it's like when you are in the situation where you are this person who have been living a cush lifestyle. And everything has been practically spoon fed to you, and you've been protected by mommy and daddy all your life. And I know what it feels like to see people being taken down around you by firearms, and how scary for some of you the situation can be. I know how frightening it can be when loved ones and friends and the catastrophe happens all the way around you, and you're looking at it from a different lens. You're looking at it from the opposite end of the stick, because you remember, you're not the front runner. You're usually the passenger seat of your entire life. So having the military, the army, policemen, your mommy, daddy, others always come to your defense is a normal thing for you. Okay, so, lifting up your hands to protest the right way or to defend yourself, is somewhat an uncommon thing. But again, when you are faced with a situation where it is you on the opposite end, what do you think logically will be the best thing for you? To be completely powerless and defenseless, right? Or do you just not care about yourself and you just stand there and let the bully you? Because bullies don't care how defenseless or defended you are. Well, if you defend yourself, that's different. But if you are defenseless, bullies will keep bullying you until you are gone. If you don't understand this, there's a movie called Back to the Future. And Michael J. Fox had this guy, they used to call him the Butthead. And the Butthead always bullied Michael J. Fox during the whole game. I mean, not the whole game, the whole series. And pretty much pushed him over the edge. And the only way that Michael J. Fox was able to make this bully stop and submit, not only did he have to continue to defend himself over and over again, he had to stop running from the bully. He had to start fighting for himself. He needed to face that bully head on and let that bully know that he wasn't going to tolerate being pushed around. And how the bully does this is when you have no defense, when you're not standing up for yourself, when you're allowing yourself to be mulled over. Those situations make you think that evil is just there to mull everybody over. But there is no greater evil on the face of the planet than one that you are willing to accept without defense. That's the greatest evil, and that is worse than any firearm ever created. When you make yourself defenseless and subjected to the enemy and the bully, because he will not stop until you disappear from the face of the planet. So therefore, getting rid of what will help you, what will give you defense, and what can protect your family is the most ignorant and unhumane thing you can ever think possibly to bring into the society circulation, if you are any type of thinking individual. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end that audio log on this. I'm going to have to create another one to